This video is going to cover everything that we did in class today in 8th grade honors math on Wednesday, October 6th. So we're going to use GeoGebra to follow along with this lesson. We're working on some geometry and pre-algebra, and so GeoGebra is just going to be the easiest format for us if you're out of school. So the first question says quadrilateral A can be rotated into the position of quadrilateral B. So you can see shape A here and shape B here. The question asks you to estimate the angle of rotation. So when we rotated A to B in this direction, what angle did we rotate A to B? So go ahead and pause this video and give this first activity a try. Okay, so you might have noticed that there's a protractor here that you're able to use, and you can spin the protractor around like this, and you can move it by touching the black dot. You might notice that if you lay the protractor on top of A, right about the angle of rotation, and that's the point where the shape rotates around, you can see that the shape rotates starting here at about 0. Let's see if I can draw on the screen. So starting here at about 0, and this point, the corner of shape A, ends up at about 120. So the angle of rotation is about 120 degrees. And the reason why is because that is how far that same end point of the shape rotates from right to left when figure A rotates onto figure B. Now, two important words that we learned in class today are clockwise and counterclockwise. And when you see that word clockwise, the word clockwise means simply that you're going in the direction that a clock goes in. So clockwise would be this way. And then counterclockwise is just the opposite. When you hear counterclockwise, that just means that you're moving in the direction opposite of how a clock moves. And so it would be the opposite direction this way. And those are some terms that we will use to describe shapes. Okay, so in the next activity, it says here's another set of dance moves, and this is similar to what you saw yesterday if you were working on the activity from home. It says use the black points to move the frames and the open circles to rotate them. So this is optional, but just if you want to kind of lay them on top of each other to see how they look, or if you want to spin them around to see how they might have changed, right? So for example, when you move from 4 to 5, or I should say from 3 to 4, it might be useful to see, okay, this is how the picture spun around. And we haven't learned any formal vocabulary yet, so at this point, your job is to just describe the move from frame 1 to frame 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and so on. So you've got to describe each of these frames. So go ahead and pause the video and answer this question here. So pause and answer this question here. Okay, so at this point, you should have answered these questions, describe the moves from each of the frames. The next question is, how would you describe the new move? And this is a little bit tricky, just in the sense that if you missed class yesterday, you wouldn't know what move is new and what move isn't. So the move that's new is the move from 2 to 3 and the move from 5 to 6. And the reason it's new is because the shape doesn't fit directly on top of the shape anymore. So something special is happening here. It's a little bit different than in the other examples because, for example, when we move from 1 to 2, we can just slide our shape to the right. And I already showed you how when we moved from 3 to 4, we were just rotating, we were just spinning our shape, right? The difference is that when we move from 2 to 3, we're doing something special. It's called a reflection. And what a reflection is if you could imagine a line right here and a flip of this shape over the line, right? So it just flips right directly over the line. That is how the shape changes from 2 to 3, is it just flips over this black line. That is called a reflection. And the way that it's different from the other moves, I'm going to leave up to you. Go ahead and answer this question and then watch part 2 of this recap.